If you think J.D. Vance is looking out for anyone besides himself, think again. Normally in politics, the vice president's job is to support the president and make them look good. But in the case of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, it often feels like the opposite. Vance, by his very nature, keeps creating problems, misspeaking, stumbling into scandals, and undermining Trump at every turn. And the latest example may be the most damaging yet, because it touches on Trump's health, something he's been desperately trying to keep under wraps. Vance's slip has blown the cover off of what Trump wanted to hide, confirming suspicions that many have had all along. We're going to break it all down. But before we get into how J.D. Vance is accidentally exposing Trump's health crisis, let's start with a different moment from that same interview, where Vance gave a bizarre and nonsensical answer about Jeffrey Epstein.
Epstein. Now that you're in power, you say that there is no client list. Why do you think it is that so many of your own supporters don't believe you?
Well, I think what the president has said, first of all, is he's told the Department of Justice to do full transparency here, to release what we have, to release the credible information. And I think you saw Todd Blanche just a couple of days ago actually release the 9-hour transcript of interview that he did with Ghislaine Maxwell. What the president has also said is that we've got a whole host of things that we can focus on. You can both order the Department of Justice to do full transparency. You can also ask the Department of Justice to enforce the law. You can also ask the National Guard to make sure that DC's streets are safe. You don't have to do one of these things or the other. So I don't think that it's a distraction, especially when I think the president has ordered the administration to be more transparent about this than any other issue. Now, yes, I'm certainly aware that there are folks, even some of our own supporters, who have criticized the response of the president, of the Department of Justice. But I think if you look at this in full and you give this the proper amount of time, what you're going to find is that the administration has been far more open and transparent about this issue and many others than any other administration. We have to remember this entire thing happened. This entire story blew up during the Biden administration. The Biden administration had 4 years to release this information. They did absolutely nothing. The president has actually directed his Department of Justice to release whatever information that we can, and also to go further. I mean, to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell for 9 hours to see if there are any other leads that we can uncover to actually identify some crimes that we can prosecute. But again, as the president has always said, we're going to let the Department of Justice be driven by the facts and the law. We're not going to prosecute people just because other people want us to. We're only going to prosecute people if they committed a crime. That's true in the Epstein situation, and that's true in a lot of other issues as well. That's why the president's focus on credibility here and the real evidence.
J.D. Vance is running the same old distraction play. Blame Biden, throw in Obama, Hillary, maybe even Pelosi. Anything to keep MAGA focused on talking points instead of the real issue. Just a few years ago, Epstein was all they could talk about, and now it's completely brushed aside. Vance knows exactly what he's doing. He went from calling Trump dangerous to becoming his VP, and now he's not only playing voters, he's playing Trump himself. And the most damaging part is that his latest comments touched on Trump's health, something Trump has been desperate to hide. Before we get into that, let's start with Lawrence O'Donnell's breakdown of Trump's decline.
A lot of wars there was no reason for. You look right up there, I don't know, see the Declaration of Independence, and I say, I wonder if the Civil War, it always seemed to me maybe that could have been solved without losing 600,000 plus people.
History will find that there was a president of the United States who did not know that the Declaration of Independence was written and signed 85 years before the Civil War. You look right up there, I don't know, see the Declaration of Independence, and I say, I wonder if the Civil War always seemed to me, maybe that could have been solved without losing 600,000 plus people. That's what he said. So he looks at the Declaration of Independence on the wall, and then he thinks that the Declaration of Independence was the product of the Civil War. We've always known that Donald Trump could not possibly pass a high school AP history course. We've always known that Donald Trump couldn't pass any test in any high school history course. But now we know that he couldn't possibly have passed any history test in my 3rd grade at St. Brendan's Elementary School in Boston, in Dorchester. We knew that order of history, what came first, in the 3rd grade. Declaration of Independence first, Revolutionary War second, Civil War a distant third to those events. There are children in elementary school in America tonight who are laughing at that video that they just saw right now, especially kids on the West Coast where this show is airing early enough for them to see it. The psychiatrists promised us in the first year of the first Trump presidency that there was only one direction that his mental health could go. And every day, Donald Trump proves them right.
Donald Trump is a stupid, stupid man. We know this, and it will be difficult to know when he is fully gone, considering he was never really there. But if you're the White House, you just want people not talking about it. That should be your chief focus. That's why what J.D. Vance had to say in this interview, clearly in a self-serving action, is blowing it all up. J.D. Vance says he's ready to be president if Trump's health fails. J.D. Vance is adamant that Donald Trump's health is not slipping. Okay? But if it does, he says he is ready to step in. Asked by USA Today about assuming the presidency before the term ends, Vance, 41, said he has received good on-the-job training in the last 7 months that has prepared him to take over from Trump, 79. But the former Ohio senator, who did not hold public office before 2023, does not think that that day is imminent. The president is in incredibly good health, Vance insisted to USA Today. He's got incredible energy. Other observers are not so convinced. Trump critic John Bolton, who served as national security advisor during his first term, said that Trump appeared tired during his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, during which he struggled to walk in a straight line. Bruises on Trump's hands, which he has tried to hide with makeup, as well as a series of mental lapses, which include him forgetting conflicts he claimed to have ended, have raised concerns about Trump's health. Trump became the oldest president ever sworn into office on January 20th when he was 78. Former President Joe Biden was also 78 on his inauguration day, but 5 months younger than Trump. Like Gavin said, J.D. Vance is weakness masquerading as strength. There's no real substance to him, and that's what makes his latest comments so alarming, because it's clear he's trying to position himself for more power. He knows he needs the backing of MAGA, and he's betting that they'll buy into his act. But let's be honest. There's nothing outsider about J.D. Vance. He paints himself as some kind of counterculture figure, when in reality he's the definition of establishment. A Yale law grad backed by Silicon Valley investors, with a book and a movie that completely abandoned the roots he claims to represent. He's not a rebel. He's a sellout. That's why we need to call these people what they are. Hollow, opportunistic shills who sold out long ago. And that's exactly what Nicole Wallace was pointing out in her own commentary on Vance.
Stand on together next to a world leader well known to be a vicious dictator and wanted for war crimes by the ICC. Trump has floated stopping states from voting by mail and from using voting machines. And that's just a few. It would take the whole hour to go through all of them. In response to these blatantly anti-democratic steps, we have started to see a rise in opposition on the grassroots side, with numerous town hall meetings that we've shown you some of, erupting into angry shouting matches as voters voice their discontent with their elected representatives. A structural opposition is also starting to emerge. Multiple governors are standing up and leading a charge against Donald Trump's autocratic policies and rhetoric. J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, Wes Moore of Maryland, and of course, Gavin Newsom of California. Take a listen.
Donald Trump wants to use the military to occupy a U.S. city. punish his dissidents, and score political points. If this were happening in any other country, we would have no trouble calling it what it is, a dangerous power grab.
I'm standing my guard, and we are locked in to make sure that our people will continue to grow and thrive and succeed in this moment, despite the fact that we're watching a federal government who seems to make my communities and our neighborhoods some kind of punchline.
He tried to light democracy on fire. He dialed for 11, almost 12,000 votes. Now he's doing it in plain sight. And people said, oh, it's just Trump being Trump. People actually think this guy's serious about having another election? You think he's joking about 2028? Wake up.
Let me ask you about
Excuse me, and I know it's impolite. We have to be more calm and demure.
A couple of your own.
But I'm not calm, and I'm not going to submit myself to niceties. Not when this guy is trying to wreck our goddamn country.
As polls overall keep showing brutal, alarmingly low approval ratings for Donald Trump's agenda. A new Quinnipiac poll shows just 37% of all Americans approve of the job Donald Trump is doing. It echoes other recent surveys like the Gallup poll.
We're not pulling any punches here, and we're going to keep calling these people out on this show. If you want to support that, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you made it all the way to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments to let us know you're with us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.